Okay. So what's the context? It's this dog water movie called Fixed. Okay. And then we have a guy called I Hate Fixed writing this. All right. So a whole yeah. I
Just
know, I know.
this,
I hit him
nothing
with a
else.
follow.
Nothing else.
Bro, this
Just this.
hatred. If this hatred would live on a different account, I think I don't know. Letterbox would just explode. Okay, let me start reading this. I never, in my entire life, have hated anything more than this fucking movie, and it's not even close. This isn't an exaggeration of any kind. I'm not doing this for likes or attention or something, but in a way, I'd like to think I'm doing it because I'm scared. I'm so fucking scared of this movie. I'm not a particularly expensive guy, expressive guy, and I know that. I've accepted that. In fact, I've developed well enough around it that I consider myself to be relatively stable in modern time. I don't know, do I? I'm losing my train of thought because I can feel my mind melting like I ran directly into a Jedi Force trick. Okay, so I heard about this movie and my first thought was, oh, Genndy Tartakovsky. That's the Samurai Jack guy. And he is. He did make Samurai Jack, and it was something at the back of my mind for this entire experience. So it should be at the back of yours too. In fact, it was a little more than that. I like Kennedy's work. I think for the most part, there was a point in my life where my artwork was even inspired by him to a certain degree. It's expressive, beautiful, unique in the way he interprets curves and angles, and it's wonderfully smooth in every sense of the word. This is the movie's biggest detriment. Let me read the rest, I don't care. Every scene feels like a goddamn century. Every time anything happens, I'm waiting for the next horrible tragedy to occur. It's like life in a way. This movie made me feel like I'd gone through an entire life and more than that. Do you remember when Gandalf fell off the bridge in Lord of the Rings? And he aged like 1,000 years in his mind until he turned white and decrepit and full of wisdom for hundreds of experiences he'd gone through in the span of seconds. You can feel as cool as Gandalf the White now. It is entirely possible. Congratulations. My first encounter with this stain on my existence was when I was hanging with my wonderful, wonderful girlfriend, who I will regret to inform anyone did not leave this experience unscathed. Here's her comment on the matter. I genuinely have nothing to say. I honestly have nothing to say, she bluntly told me, a hint of emotion left in her voice. I understood. I didn't push the matter further. Even now, I sit and write this in stunning absolute silence as she sits and watches, ever helpless. God damn it, this movie took her from me too. I tell her the news about the Samurai Jack guy, his new smooth looking movie, and she's like, yeah, sure, because it's Netflix, so what the hell? We settled in. 2 minutes. 2 fucking minutes.
Warm open of the memory of a family puppy. Great, that's nice. I'm glad. If anything, this movie can have a heart, or at least the setup for an attempt at some kind of real human connection. I noted how good the animation looked. She agreed. I complimented his cartoon puppy eyelashes. We were on our merry way. Smash cut, 2 years later, these people still haven't spayed the fucking dog. The dog has fucking the grand legs. That's the joke. The punchline is porn. It's always porn. Uh-oh. I'd laughed, simply enough, mostly because this isn't exactly what I wasn't expecting with something like this. It was a shitty, raunchy adult comedy. Whatever. I was a little high at the time, regardless. Maybe that's why this had such a strong emotional effect on me at the time. I don't know. I expected something at the very least Family Guy tier, which isn't exactly a very high pillow to save you from the drowning flood that is Fixed 2025. Anyways, so maybe Trying to draw comparisons from reality to ground myself was a very human, very foolish attempt at some kind of coping mechanism. But you really can't blame me. 2 minutes in, and the dog is fucking the grandma. And then the grandma grabs the dog dingle, and I say, I don't really want to watch this anymore. Then, for 7 whole hours, we didn't. We're back. Again, after I'd taken a short detour to the doctor to get some blood work. So, woozy and coming down from 30 milligrams of sativa, I groggily met back with my girlfriend, hanging out, just chatting. I can't stop thinking about this movie for the life of me. For some reason, it kept beckoning to me, like a deadly siren call that would surely become my obsessive downfall. Even as I lost half a pint of blood, all I can think to myself for a few good hours of my day life is, wow, that movie only took 2 minutes to become bad. It was my white whale. I chased something I should not have. I stared into the abyss and it came back at me, full force, screaming and wailing and pulling out everything I've ever been in my entire life like a vicious, malevolent wraith. Turn back now, curious traveler. No amount of curiosity could be worth the unruly venture into the unknown. I felt like when the unicorn at the end of The Last Unicorn could no longer join her own society, because she was tainted by the world and her friends were living in the serene bliss of not knowing that New Jersey is something you could just stumble across. After a bit of horrible convincing my very lovely girlfriend, if she's reading this, I'm so sorry, agreed to sate my idiotic curiosity with kind understanding, and we picked up exactly where we left off. And let me tell you, to experience the grandma grabbing dog schlong scene transitioning into dog humping mint ice cream scene is no easy feat. For only being a total of 3 or so minutes into this hour and a half thing, from henceforth, I will not refer to this as a movie. It's a thing. It's a nothing. This hour and a half nothing spiraled into the main character, Bull, essentially screwing everything in its path for probably the longest, stretched out, yet admirably fluid chase scene I've seen in a while.
Okay, it's my turn. To be completely honest, I wasn't exaggerating when I said this Nothing's wonderful presentation is its worst asset. After some stunt research following the completion of this absolute nothing, I found out it was originally going to be 3D, and it looked horrible. Because of course it did. Sausage Party also looked horrible, but it was Sausage Party. This is by the guy who made Samurai Jack. Primal is definitely a really top show for me so far. I cannot even begin to explain how much Dexter's Lab I've seen in the span of my entire childhood. But it's simply, this is nothing like watching your very horny dog from childhood get shot, which was suddenly a very pleasant thought in the midst of it all. Said the horny dog, ends up ruining. What am I reading? What am I ruining? Ruining the dog's owner's house, as it did not show nature of dog owner propaganda. This is coming from a real Jack Russell owner. We will come back to this point. And then goes outside to hump a hose, I guess. Sure. That sounds like. No, wait. Fuck me. That sounds like the punchline to something. Anyways, the literal singular girl character of Nothing shows up. But here's the thing, she was my favorite character. Out of anyone in this entire Nothing, I enjoyed her the most. She's telling Horny Dog that fucking Grandmas is awesome, and Horny Dog agrees. Sparks fly. To be fair, I could theoretically see the relationship between these two. They were constantly freaks, but that seems to be the streak for everyone in this hellhole, so I'm calling it this universe that they dwell within, the ninth undiscovered circle, henceforth.
This is not even halfway.
Bro, let me read it.
This
Okay,
is
we
not
need
even halfway.
scroll back up. The people need to know. Okay, I'm reading the rest of the shit and you uploading it.
Horny
Okay.
dog and girl dog go back and forth until horny dog asks to have sex. Girl dog says yes. Horny dog says something along the lines of awkward and then leaves to go on a walk. I enjoyed the designs of horny dog's friend, especially Nerd Dog, who had the only semi-enjoyable character as well. I simply hate him by having association of being one of the most prominently featured characters. Что?
Should I just take over? What is it? There's no cut there. Okay,
Извини.
sure. there's also
No, no,
Australian
no,
dog
no,
and
no, no,
freak
no, no,
dog.
no, 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 no.
Only
We'll cut
because he
this out.
needed to take a break.
No, no,
Fuck
no.
off.
I woke up my mother.
Oh yeah, okay, then let me do it.
I simply hate. What is it? There's
No,
also the
there's also
prominently
yeah.
featured characters. There's also the Australian dog and freak dog. Australian dog is what I think to be a mastiff who will not stop referencing that he has mummy issues or something. At least he keeps talking about sucking on tits. Not to worry. Not to worry you. This comes back later. Chekhov's teeth, so to speak. Oh my god.
I want to kill
Freak dog
myself.
is self-explanatory and the Jack Russell of the group. And I would say that all Jack Russells are so goddamn weird. This appreciate the vision to some degree. Anyway, Freak Dog's introduction on the walk scene of all the main characters being interacting with him was him eating literal, actual shit for what I want to say was a full 30 seconds of graceful, smooth, fantastically expressive animation. Do you see? Do you see how the demon of Babylon disguised itself within the court of righteousness? At this point, I started laughing. It wasn't out of any apparent joy, because I can never quite remember my smile actually reaching my eyes during these times, but mostly out of shock and confusion. What the hell is this movie? I prematurely referred to the nothing as laughing about 11? 11 fucking minutes in? I'd only been watching for 11 minutes by this point, which I'd made it a point to physically check. Impossible. I'd felt as if I'd been in one place for centuries already. Your turn.
I just can't hold myself. Alright. Anyways, the main group is all together, and the horny dog explains that he wants the girl dog through subtle little actions and feelings to express his character motivation. I'm joking, of course. Australian dog straight out tells both horny dog and the audience that girl dog and horny dog have been best friends for years, and they've always loved each other. Okay, sure, whatever you say. When they get to the park, there's an extensive ass sniffing scene. By the way, every opportunity that is given, there will be a drawn dog asshole on the screen 9 times out of 10. Thought about the poor, fresh out of university animation major who had to do a cleanup on the frame by frame ballsack slabs of Horny Dog, which is also consistently drawn at every single opportunity, and my heart ached just a little bit. The main group comes across a dog who has been nurtured with a very harrowed expression that I felt extremely seen by as the viewer. They have set up some very obvious foreshadowing with the nurtured dog explaining that before he got nurtured, they were really nice to him and threw him a party, which I get inherently as a concept, but makes no sense to me. I feel like usually a celebration would follow the dog's major surgery. Why would you give things to the dog to make it feel better before that? It wouldn't even be able to make that association in its mind in a world that isn't the ninth circle. But I guess this is just an animation, and I'm a bad person for sitting through the entire thing, which are both true factoids. Anyways, the antagonist of the Nothings show up, and I can see the vision. Hey, dude,
Sorry.
I was still reading that.
My bad, my bad.
As Anyways, the antagonist of this Nothing shows up, and I can see the vision, but even this is lacking. It's the very stereotypical self-absorbed, egotistical, fancy asshole I can usually get behind, but this movie has the writing nuance of a turkey sandwich covered in fuck shit, which sounds a bit crass, but I'm simply following the example that Fix 2025 provides in this case of writing a palatable dialogue. I don't think I have the courage to make a fuck counter to this Nothing, so if anyone has, please report back the results and I'll give you a free mercy killing, no questions asked.
My turn. I believe by
You
a,
believe
by a
what?
quick count in my head, they probably said fuck in the movie about 76 times. I
Terry, are
think.
you a busy pop in disguise?
Maybe.
Is this like your safe word to say fuck? Anyways, just read it. We're just gonna upload it onto YouTube anyways.
Anyways,
Fuck off.
horny dog and asshole dog have an extremely drawn out exchange, which is not common for this movie at all, which is also to its detriment. Not that it helps, because Lord knows it would not, but taking an entire agonizing century to finish a joke that only makes it all the more painful. Horny dog will not stop talking about his ballsack, and it hits me. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is actually the plot of the movie. Girl Dog shows up and talks about fucking grandmas again. Horny Dog's apparently sad he will never be good enough for Girl Dog standards as asshole dog. So we have a scene where you have to feel bad for this putrid creature as he looks back over her shoulder. And Girl Dog gazes lovingly at him the same way. I'm just going to spoil it because I don't care. They get together, because of course they do. Makes everything else that follows all the more frustrating and disgusting, and all the other horrible things that are cited from this. So, Horny Dog goes home to find the same situation that was foreshadowed earlier in the park. A wonderful party before they cut off his bulldogs, which are worth basic breadcrumbs of a point for at least knowing how to follow through with a single execution of a setup in some way that moves the not plot forwards. Horny Dog freaks out and decides to have an adventure in the big city after he sees an ant and decides he wants to keep his balls. Your guess of the relation of this is as good as mine, which is where the true plot of this nothing begins. But I have to say, this is actually the point where I define my expectations across the threshold from bad to worse in record breaking speed. Horny Dog goes to a food festival and immediately gets high because this is a raunchy adult comedy. But, and I mean absolutely no disrespect to Mr. Samurai Jack here, maybe just a little bit even, but I'm not quite sure he understands what weed is, considering I was very under sad influences for a majority of this experience. Tartakovsky seems to have the effects of very minimal secondhand smoke from a joint and hard acid confused, which someone should really correct him on before he makes a very serious mistake in his life. I guess nobody did. Which is why I'm here writing this review at 3 in the morning. And I'm reading this review at 3 in the morning. Horny Dog is extremely high, and his balls get bitten by rats and then turn into an old man and a Napoleon caricature. Oh god, I forgot this happened. I will not delve further into this. His balls run away. And it's so
kill
shit.
myself.
This movie's so bad.
I want to kill myself.
This is like reading somebody this is like my personal fucking brain diary of fucking giving me flashbacks. Christ Almighty, how
Yeah,
is
existing is a headache. Yeah, I get the point. To just finish it so I can just take it over.
Horny Dog comes off of his high after like 3 minutes of having a fantasy of Girl Dog licking his butt? Something. This is only 30 or so minutes in, mind you. Oh god, it's only 30 minutes in.
Anyways, before the cat is going to be my hero and kills the pitiful beast, Horny Dog's friends come back and they're already doing an apology and reunion scene. Jesus Christ, man. There's a scene that, again, goes on a way too long of cats meowing with some admittedly cool looking angles, which again makes it all so much worse. And then they start mauling at the shit out of the dogs. I smiled for the first time in a while. The scene ultimately led to literally nothing. It has no effect on the plot, but this is fixed 2025. We don't do that kind of thing around here. Australian Dog says that horny dogs should have sex before they cut off his balls, and then I guess the real plot of this nothing begins in the time for real. I'm so not sure. This thing could be still going, and I wouldn't even care anymore. So, Horny Dog and crew are out for a night on the town, which includes freeing a tiny purse dog, immediately followed by a very graphic scene of the purse dog getting run over for literally no reason because they didn't know what to do about this 3 second gag character they introduced for Jack of Shit. Typical noise, voice nights out gags, which includes a strip club scene. It's also exactly what you expect. I encourage drinking game, but I'm not going to be liable for the resulting deaths of Fix 2025. This will be a hell reserved on the what? Conscience of
Conscience.
Genndy, conscience of Genndy, fuck ever, and Mr. Whatever alone. I paused the writing in this review because I quite literally passed out at my computer in an exhausted pour of hate. But I just realized I've forgotten to mention the misunderstanding plot. But Jesus Almighty Christ. To some degree, I did appreciate that they at least tried to give the main character and his love interest some resemblance of a real dynamic or connection or kind of real actual emotion prox to the context of the interactions. But God, never in my life have I been wanting to see a sex gag on screen to get this shit over with already. It's going to happen. Of course, it's going to happen. There's no conceivable universe where this silly, pudgy fuck up guy in a raunchy adult comedy with no plot doesn't get with the she's a girl but she's a fuck character. Girl dog goes to her dog. For some reason, they begin to cover the topic of dogs getting judged constantly. And why is that wrong? This point comes from literally actually nowhere, and I would have loved if this was what the actual plot was, but I would have also loved to some Bailey during this experience, so I guess we can't all get what we want sometimes. At the dog show, the girl dog wins in her category of Borzoi, even though I'd been under the impression she was an Afghan hound this whole time, but I digress. And Horny Dog suddenly, like, she must be ugly and disgusting because I'm going to lose my ball sack, and walks away right before the girl dog can see him in the crowd. Because of course he does. Girl dog has another very random plot point resolution moment where she goes, "Different is good," which I guess is the moral. I had been under the impression that the moral of nothing was that I should never meet my heroes later in life, a la Mr. Samurai Jack. But sure, that's a good lesson for the 32-year-old stoners in this crowd. Gerdog realizes she wants Horny Dog for some unseen reason, and the crowd breaks into chaos because Australian Dog got his ass grabbed.
Don't
Don't
ask
ask.
because I'm going to use this backspace key in this review to elaborate on this happening sequentially. This leads into the strip club scene, which is possibly one of the worst in this nothing besides the final scene. Dog sex jokes, dog orgies, and even what I'm 80% sure is purposely transphobic caricatures. But this character uses canonical they them pronouns, and this rule does not get broken, so take from this what you will. I really don't want to be seen by this nothing in any way personally. Representation will always be important, but not in a disaster area. Horny Dog finds the literal only other named woman character in this nothing, and with that, I regret to inform all of you that Fix 2025 does not pass the Bechdel test. I'm so
You
sorry.
wanna fuck me? No, you don't. Are you saying that this
This,
shit doesn't. I wanna kill myself.
this
Why does
character
he
is
even reference
also a
this?
Borzoi, which is what I will assume, as she's played exclusively to parallel Girl Dog, because instead of Honey, Girl Dog's name, she's called Molasses. If you didn't realize this, don't worry, because this nothing tells you this purposeful parallel to your face, so you don't have to look up from your slime making Instagram reels. Horny Dog accidentally gets his dick trapped in other Girl Dog by accident, who was clenching him so he was hanging there. I just really stopped caring at this point. I couldn't even remember the scenes. This is like moved from my brain immediately. I just wanted this
Valid.
to be over. I was extremely tired, and I still am now. Girl Dog is pissed that Horny Dog is having sex with someone else that isn't her, and Horny Dog tries to explain, which leads us further into the misunderstanding plot. Because now, Girl Dog thinks Horny Dog is an asshole, which he is, so I was kinda happy about her moving on for a moment. Everyone ends
Okay.
up getting
This.
caught by a pair of bumbling dog catchers, which leads to a scene of operatic music playing over a lines of piss going everywhere as they plan this big breakout when everyone is at their lowest. I don't know. Do you care? I don't care. Girl Dog's honest pick her up from the shelf to go have sex with Asshole Dog, and Horny Dog panics. This all comes to a head in one big scene where Horny Dog returns back home, and apparently Zona's looking for him, and you're supposed to feel sad here, so try your best and feel even sadder, and then this nothing is likely already making. And hops over Girl Dog's fence to have sex with Asshole Dog in her stead. Oh yeah, he just gets fucked in the ass. Okay, continue. I'm having a stroke.
Where are we even? Where are we even? I'm having a stroke.
Right here.
Okay, then scroll a bit more up so for anyone following this right now or watching this movie or watching this fucking review
No.
reading that's
This is
gonna be
not a movie.
uploaded.
No. This is not a movie. This is nothing.
You get the fucking point.
This is nothing. It's
To refer to something which does not exist, I need to use the same structures that has given to me from by this society, by this constructed society.
just
Okay,
keep reading.
nigga, just scroll up at this point. And this is supposed to be the big heroic moment, but God, it's genuinely so awful that I think I'm going to stop talking about this instead of tell you the inevitable when a horny dog and girl get together because different is good, or something which immediately is followed by horny dog getting his nuts chopped off. Thank God. Thank God, we're almost free. It's almost over. You need to do the slow scrolling, please.
My bad. 10 minutes? 10
Shut up.
minutes
10
left?
minutes left?
How?
How?
Actually fucking how?
Nick, shut up. Let me read the rest. My girlfriend is barely making it through. She's going to collapse any minute. Just a little bit longer. God damn it, I could do this. Honey Dog and Girl have disgusting little puppies, with all the fat ones being boys, all the skinny ones being girls. I don't even remember this.
Me neither.
Because, of course, I guess. Jesus, me reading this, I need to reimagine it. I guess they're all at least changed up the fur designs in between puppies, but not even in any way that made remote sense. Which, if you're saying this is an extremely odd complaint for nothing like this, I'm going to be blatant and say I'm stalling right now. I'm stalling, and I know it. These last few minutes of nothing are, without a doubt, the entire reason I made this in the first place. My entire being, alight with fucking hatred and venomous bile, dripping from the back of my throat, as I scream at my screen so uselessly. I
Oh god, I
started
just
laughing.
remembered the ending. Oh,
It
I
wasn't
forgot.
funny. God, no. None of this was funny, but I laughed. It was completely devoid of joy. Just a senseless, crazed, and distant thing.
No,
I can't even begin to put into words what I fucking saw, because even if I do describe it, it will never be as bad as experiencing it. I'm going to link the timestamp that this begins at, but I have to explain this is not for the faint of heart. When I tell you bird twerking and bouncing his big, fat balls in slow mo with amazingly animated fluidity, do you realize the stakes at hand here? I personally don't think you do. So if you're feeling brave enough, I, I recommend skipping to 1 hour, 90 minutes, and 32 seconds and genuinely trying to tell me you don't watch that and you don't immediately want to walk out in a deadly, slow killing bog in the middle of the forest. Fuck this. Fuck all of it. I hate fixed 2025. I hate it so goddamn much. Go watch the bear shaking his balls and ass. Fuck it.
I want to kill myself. This nothing has been about literally, actually anything else in the entire world. It could have been at least something. But no, nothing. This is nothing, and that will always continue to be nothing. I hate fixed 2025.
The only question I'm having is like, is this review still there? Or did it already got fucking nuked? Or did anyone like it? Come on, man. It needs to have more
There
than
were
5
five
likes.
people who liked it.
Still? Is
Print
that
selection.
Crystal.
8 pages.